Okay, here we go. This is Scuderia Silva. We're going to work on a Maserati today. So I'm going to go through it real quick. This is the oil hose right here where my finger is. Maybe it's hard to see right here. I have to take that off. I'm going to take off the vacuum hoses that control the amount of boost. Get those off. This is an oil return hose for the turbocharger back to the crankcase. We're also going to remove from the car the factory air injection system, and we'll take all that off. We'll take off this front here too, and see if we can't make some more horsepower out of this baby. But what we're really checking for is we want to make sure the turbos don't need to be rebuilt. We want to verify that they're IHI. I think they're supposed to be Series 51. I'm not sure about that. So we're going to take them off, make sure the wastegates work. So let's get to it. Oil return hose off first. It's this hose right here. I loosened it up a little bit earlier. It's an incorrect. It is an incorrect clamp for this car. We'll replace that. Notice that the hose is split. And so these are, I think these return hoses are only about 50 bucks a piece. And so we'll have to do both of those and get the right clamp for sure. That's ridiculous. There. Take off the vacuum input off the wastegate. Remove that system. It's already loose on top. Let's take off this air injection hose that's on the top here since we're up here. There's a nylock aircraft nut, top and bottom. And then you've got a probably a 4mm interior socket up there. Take that off rapidly. Maybe. Okay. I like using a magnetic tray down here. I don't know if you can see it, but I like keeping the parts in a magnetic tin. I don't know what's going on. So there's part of the air injection system. It had been capped off. The air pump had been removed earlier and just plugged. But this one across the face of the engine over here, and we're not gonna. It's a 1984 car. We don't need that anymore. So put that off to the side. Got that loose. Now we're gonna take the. Oh, that vacuum control unit's in here somewhere. Yeah, it's still hooked up to the other side. We'll fuss with that a little bit later. So let's take the, we know we're going to rework the alternator. Use some of our air tools. It's a 17mm on the top one. Keep all that together. Throw it on our little tray. I'm going to take the electrical off. Let's take off the single, there's a single red and white wire, what they might call the actuator wire. Then you got your single hot wire in there. That's a brown wire on this car. If you're not used to Italian cars and you work on German cars a lot, there's a lot of confusion about grounds and hots that are brown and black, and so you have to pay attention to the brand that you're working on at the time. Okay, that's a nut with a wave washer. That's an improper washer on that. We'll fix that. That That should have a split washer. That goes to the wiring harness up top here. We'll take that out later. But we just took off our brown wire now. That's the only 2 wires on this car. You only need 2 wires on an alternator system. And we'll leave that to go. Take that off. We've almost got the alternator loose. Let's take the 19mm socket now. Make sure we have it on reverse. We'll take out the bottom. Making sure that we're not losing anything as it comes out. And take off the front alternator. Bottom bolt. It's got a lock nut behind it, same thing, don't want to lose it. So now we have the alternator off. We'll send that into the rebuild shop. It's a Magneti Marelli. Made in Italy. It's a 14 volt 55 amp. A lot of people might say that's inadequate. It should be okay. You got 1 air conditioning compressor on this car, that should be alright. Okay. That's still bugging me over here. We're gonna remove the vacuum line from up here gently. Maybe it's gonna come gently. There we go. Okay. We're keeping track of these vacuum lines. Remember, this one went on the wastegate on the turbo down here. This goes up right under the distributor. Now keep in mind when you're working on these cars, that distributor cap's brand new. That distributor cap there's $135 for this car. So you want to make sure that you treat everything real nice. Here's the return or the supply hose for the turbo. So we've unscrewed this. Now we're going to move that to the side. Now we keep in mind that that goes over here, and that supplies the turbo right here. The inlet air comes from the exhaust manifold, comes down through here, spins the turbine inside here, it goes through the bearing pack inside here, which is why it has the oil supply. Very important on these early Maseratis that you let the engine continue to run for, I like to do it for a minute or 2. Never rev the engine when you shut it off. Just let it cool down. That spits oil through this turbo system and lets it cool down. If you just shut it off when it's hot, it's going to coke that oil up in here and you're going to lose your lubrication and your turbos will become unreliable. And of course on these early Maseratis you also want to use full synthetic oil for sure on anything that's this early. So now we're going to take the exhaust manifold off. And I don't mind using some assistance on that. And so I've already put lubricant on all the threads in order to loosen them up. And so we're going to go through. I like to do the ones that are going to be the most difficult first. So let's do the inside ones on. This would be number 4, 5, and 6. So let's take this off of, yeah, I can't even get that on 6. Let's see if we can get in there. Okay. Got it on reverse. Now keep in mind, this gets extremely hot in here. And so I would always on reassembly use copper nuts. They're available readily. And these steel ones are just going to cause you nothing but headache and you'll end up getting ticked at yourself. So if you ever want to take it back apart, get the copper ones. Now we're on the, let me see, let me get, one on the inside that I can't get. I need a skinny one to get in there. Yeah, see, that's very tight, and some dummies saving $1. If you break off a stud in this thing, you're gonna hate yourself. So let's get the rest of these on. Now we've got that system hanging there, and move this out of the way. And off it comes. Turbochargers and all. There's the exhaust manifold where it bolted to the engine. The wastegate works. That's the important part. We can see about that action here. This is not seized up. And I started the car and the impellers are working, so I'm going to clean this up, and we'll take it apart further on our next session.